On today's video, we are going to attach the dollhouse shell to our foundation. We're also going to mark our roof pieces. Stay tuned and see how this all comes together. Alright, so our glue is all dry on our sides. This is really sturdy now. It's actually sat for a couple of days while I did some other stuff. But today we are going to put on the front piece of our dollhouse. Now, something I want to note that I did note in the blog, but I didn't say on the video. Before I let this dry, I did dry fit that front panel to make sure it was going to fit on here with no problems. If it hadn't, then I could have done some adjusting. So I've got my glue. I'm not going to use the extra glue today because this is not in a position where I'm going to need to. I am going to run just a nice bead of glue, and I'm going to run it here all along these edges that are going to be in contact with the grooves and the front of the dollhouse. Now, one thing, I don't remember if I mentioned it, but these do sit up just a little bit, which is why we had to assemble with the back down, because while the floors are level with the back, they stick out just a very tiny bit on the front. Now, hopefully I can do this where you guys can see. I'm hoping that top-down view is going to work. And I'm going to have to probably going to have to turn the camera off so I can get my head down inside the dollhouse to make sure everything is going where I want it to be. And once it is, I will take some photos of the different angles so you guys can see via photo, which I'll see if I can insert some of them into the video, otherwise they'll be in the blog, and then I'll come back and talk to you. Alright, everything is lined up on the corners, on the edges, and now I'm going to do some weights. I've got some bricks. I've got this brick. I've got this little flat brick. And I'm laying these so that they are on the edges, on the sides. Then I have my soup cans. I think I need to go see if I've got one more can of soup that I can put up here. I'd like one more weight. And then this just needs to sit. I want it to dry all the way, so probably tomorrow morning I'll come back and go to the next step. Alright, our glue has gone overnight, so I can take the tape off. And now, as soon as I get this tape all off, we are going to move the house. I'm going to turn the camera off. I'm going to get everything set up because we are going to glue the house to the foundation. So this looks great. Everything's seated really nicely. We do have some little areas here that we will cover with trim wood, so don't be concerned if you see a little bit of a ridge on your dollhouse there. There are corner pieces to our trim. So and also I haven't looked inside. So off camera I'm going to turn this over and we'll see how well the floor matched up on the bottom floor. So let me turn the camera off, turn this over, and I'll be right back. Alright, I am really happy with how the floor and everything matched up. There are some gaps. Where did I have gaps? I had some gaps somewhere. Well, I had some gaps here earlier. I'm going to have to fill those with some filler, but the front edge looks great. I'm really happy. So I am going to move the camera, turn the camera off, move it back a bit, get the foundation up on the table, and we need to glue this to the foundation. Alright, hopefully I've got you guys where you can see as best as I can. This is getting to be a rather large project, and it's hard to know where to aim the camera at. So I dry fit my house to the foundation. It fits perfectly. There's a slight overhang on the side. Front to back, it matches perfect. I am really happy. So the only contact points we're going to have is going to be here and then here. so, but not at the door. So I am going to put glue, a nice coat of glue, right here, all along the top edge of my foundation. I'm really happy with how this kit is coming together. I've had quite a few comments. Personally, people contacted me asking me about primer, so I did write a blog post about why I use primer. If you haven't read that, go to the blog and check it out. Primer is used for a lot of reasons on when you're doing wood, so be sure and check that. All right, now I'm not using the hot glue here because number one, I don't need it to hold it, and number two, I want to be able to move this until I get it set exactly the way I want it. Oops. I'm trying to feel where is centered. It feels right. I've got really good contact here in the front. I'll take some photos and they'll be on the blog. I might insert some in the video. I'm not sure, depending on how they turn out. But that looks good. Do need to wipe up some glue here. I'm going to turn the camera off and go get some a wet paper towel. I'll be right back. All right, let's get this glue wiped up. So I'm going to leave that there. Now, I'm kind of using my finger to measure how far this is hanging over on each side. Okay, I need to come this way just a skosh. It's the beauty of liquid glue. You can kind of scoot things back and forth until it sets up. That's more even. All right, now that I've got dollhouse where I want it, it is time to do some weights. Get out of the way. So I have the stuff I use to weight down the rest of it. Go. I'm going to put some weights up here on the top. Let's put another one there. And now that glue needs to dry. When that's dry, I'll be back and I'll review in the meantime whether we're going to do anything else today. Alright, so I did some priming off camera because I figured the last thing you guys needed to do was watch me prime more wood. It's the same process as the rest of the priming. What I have here are all the roof pieces, and I only primed one side. I primed the side that will be towards the rooms, that the ceiling will be. Now this is a place where I am varying from the instructions on the kit, and basically what they want you to do is mark off what part of the roof is going to be the eaves and what part's the inside. They want you to paint the part that's inside the house with your ceiling color and what's outside of the roof with your trim color. Well, if you followed my build series before, you know that I don't paint the ceiling on the inside, I paper it. Also, I don't want to start using, I don't have my trim color, and as I talked about in my blog post about primer, I'm priming everything. I know the manufacturer of the kit says, oh, you don't need to prime. I've got reasons for priming. I detail them in a blog post that's on the blog, so you can look that up. So I'm primed that side that will be painted. I left the outside of the roof pieces, except for splatters, wood color. I will probably basically prime this with a craft paint before I put the roof on, depending on what color roof I decide to go with. I think I am going to use the wood shingles. If I leave them the color they are, or a brownish tone, I'll probably just leave this. If I decide to go with a different color shingle, which right now I'm kind of leaning towards a gray, I haven't decided yet, in that case, I will actually paint this with a gray first. That is something we'll figure out when we get there. Right now, this is primed. I'm going to do my markings for my shingle placement. If I do prime it, it's going to be a very light coat and the markings will still show. Now, one thing to note when you are looking for your roof pieces, now hopefully this is going to show, where's the camera? There's a beveled edge. Beveled edges, the short side of the bevel goes towards the room, the long side goes on the outside. I'm going to put everything except the main roof piece off to the side, and I'm going to start by marking the main roof piece. So let me get set up for that and I'll be right back. Alright, here's our main roof piece. We start at the top of the roof. Hopefully I've got enough room with the tripod there. I'm going to have to move this down. And I've got my very longest quilting ruler. If you don't have a ruler like this, you can mark down along the edges. What I need to do, or what we'll all need to do for doing this, is make a line every 1 inch going down the roof. So you go across the roof at 1 inch from the top, all the way across. And this ruler is nice because you can see through it. It's nice and straight, it's nice and stable, it's a nice heavy ruler. Now, that's 1 inch down. Now I go down, I can put the 1 inch mark on there, on that line I just drew, and I go down. Oops. And I slide it. My ruler is not quite the length of the roof. I know you're not seeing the ends in the camera, because this roof is 24, how long is this? It's about 27 inches wide. Now I go down another inch. And I do the same thing. Just hold it straight. Now if you don't have a ruler like this, let me show you on another piece what you could do. If you don't have that, this is the back roof. If you don't have a ruler like this, just take a regular ruler and make a mark every inch, always starting at the top, and then go over here a little ways. Don't go any further apart than what the length of your ruler that you've got. You know, you're going to have to be able to span this. If you're using just a plain school ruler, you're going to have to make more marks than if you're using a great big long ruler. But whatever ruler you've got, make your marks, line your ruler up with a couple of them so that you know you're going straight, and draw your line. It's pretty simple. And you're just drawing, these lines just need to be 1 inch apart all the way down the roof, and you always start at the top because there's always going to be a short space at the bottom. So I'm going to get these all marked, and then we'll come back and we'll do the dormer roof because it's done slightly differently. Alright, the rest of the roof is all marked. Now we're going to work on the dormer roof. That one really has a big blotch of paint. So find your top. Your top is going to be this side with a bevel. Bevel goes down, and you want to line these two pieces up so they're at the same height. You want your roof to match on left and right side of your dormer. And again, then after you line it up, it's just like before. You're going to line up your ruler, which I must say is much easier when I can put as usual, put my head over it. I will have to probably get some sandpaper and sand that lump of primer off. But I'm just going to continue down here, and that is all there is to marking the roof in preparation for having it done. We're doing this now even though we're not putting the roof on for quite a while. There's several steps before we put the roof on, but we need to have it marked before we put it onto the house. It's much easier to do this marking while it's flat rather than after it's on the dollhouse. In fact, this would be impossible to mark once it's on and get it straight. Alright, we got a lot done today. We got the dollhouse attached to the foundation, and we marked all of our roof pieces, as well as I primed the back side of those. So, if you have any questions, be sure and ask them. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, be sure and push that subscribe button and hit the bell notification button to have YouTube let you know when I upload. And I will talk to you next week. Bye.